Okay, I had to re-record the intro to this video because I was getting background footage, and look at this. The PSS loses to the Nintendo Switch. It loses to Pokemon Let's Go's matchmaking because it's that easy. Quick little code, you already find someone instantly, and now you're battling. Now you are playing Pokemon with the person you're looking for, works locally, works on the internet. Codes are superior, how does anyone have 8? The PSS was clunky, and it made it agonizing. I didn't want to play Pokemon because the PSS was so bad. I really can't stress enough that this experience and sentiment right here is what carries my feelings throughout the entire video. I can't think of any time PSS worked as well as any group finding for the Nintendo Switch. Am I out of touch, or did everyone forget how bad the PSS was? The Nintendo Switch has been much better for matchmaking and group finding, but I've been seeing a lot of sentiment recently about, oh, the PSS being such a great thing, and tons of engagement farming around it. Also, every time I see one of McSelly's posts, it just makes me cringe, or it's like super annoying. Sigh. Oh, the PSS. Same thing also happened. Like, every time this dude is in my timeline, it's just some kind of garbage post because we had... Here it is again, just the most viral thing that's happened all year in Pokemon. What's your most obscure Pokemon fact? Again, engagement farming or something like that. Even though Mega Evolution was introduced in Kalos, Deontay was the only Kalos Pokemon that could Mega Evolve. But in 2 days, this could change. How is that an obscure Pokemon fact? This was also going off of, like, the poster we had for Machamp versus Hawlucha, so it's like, yeah... Mega Evolution looking likely. These posts always come off as the most uninspired, bottom-of-the-barrel baiting, yet that's all the Pokemon community is interested in. And I did correct myself on this matter. After some reflection, disregard the notion that this is an obscure fact, consider it simply as a Pokemon fact. Then what's the point? Also, of course, the retraction isn't going to matter after you get a viral post. And then going into the replies of this one, the best online menu. And that's why I'm just like, there's absolutely no way. High like ratio as well. The Pokemon community is actually this dumb now. Everyone just lies now with toxic positivity for brain rot engagement farming, and it just ends up rewriting reality. That I will give the PSS credit for finally giving us an online menu and online matchmaking and stuff. That was really cool. But that's also like saying, oh, Generation 5 is awesome because you can reuse TMs. We got a technology upgrade and some quality of life, but when you look at it objectively, it barely worked half the time, and it really wasn't that great. And even by 2013 standards, Nintendo was way behind on friend groups and lobby making compared to Xbox, PlayStation, and especially PC. So that's why I'm just like, why are we looking back on this thing fondly? Like, it was the bare minimum for the time, and it wasn't really that great, and now that we have, like, so much more, how can you look back on it as the best online menu? Not only did you have the 3DS friend integrated with the game, except 3DS friend codes were the worst, especially with Pokemon. That's what I hated about it. That, like, oh, I need to add someone to do a battle with them, so now I have to go add the game, and then add them through that. And I'm not going to hold the small friends list of the 3DS against the PSS, because if it was the same system on the Nintendo Switch, well then we have a lot more friends and some of those problems go away. But it's really annoying, like, if you just add everyone, because you had to. Like, oh, I just have to add someone if I want to do a one-off Pokemon battle with them, and then I have to remember if I'm never seeing them again to delete it, to then get someone else added into the system. So actually, yeah, that is a big fault of the PSS, and that's why I like the Nintendo Switch so much, because adding the codes makes it so much more seamless and so much better in every way. And then, like what I said with it barely functioning, you add someone or one of your friends like, hey, I'm online, and then you connect to the internet and you can't find them, they're not online. Having a single row you have to scroll through for all of your friends and stuff to find the person you're looking for. That's not good. Acquaintances, this never really worked. And then passerbys, that was just for O-powers, and you could do any random online stuff for O-powers, kind of like how we have the GTS and these random online lobbies and stuff. And there was never a reason to interact with passers-by. So that's why I'm wondering, like, how anyone can think about this finally. Like, it just gave us an online platform finally for a Pokemon game, so that's good. But the rest of it didn't really matter at all. And then here's the big thing that has me making this video. why is there also so much code hate for the Nintendo Switch? That's all like, everyone is suddenly, oh, the PSS was so great, it's the best thing ever, and it's free engagement farming, and then everyone's just like, wow, these terrible, awful codes, I hate them so much with the Nintendo Switch that we have today, even though it's way better. Instead of backing out, adding a friend, getting the confirm, and then going in, and then having to go through it to add them through the friend menu, you just put in a couple of numbers and it's done. And it also means you don't have to add the person as a friend just for a one-off trade or one-off battle. And even if you are playing with a friend, it takes no more time to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 than to add them from the friend menu if you're already in communication with them. So like, the code just makes it seamless. It makes it to where there's no friction to just getting into a lobby with someone and then playing the game. Or also multiple people. Or if you have like multiple people coming into the friend group, it's like, oh, I have this new person, I have to add them as a friend, or I'm hosting the lobby, I'm not friends with everyone kind of thing. It's, hey, we can get in a multiple group of people, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Done. We're in. I will never understand why Game Freak doesn't use the Switch friend list and invite system, because it pulls you out of the game unnecessarily when you can just pop in a code as fast or faster depending on the group situation. You just join the lobby and you're in. Then we got hate on the festival plaza, but I blame that mostly on just all the hacking that happened for Generation 7, because the festival plaza actually very useful for training your Pokemon and engaging with people, but everyone just skipped that and cheated and then went to like trade bots and stuff. So they didn't get to engage with a huge part of the game. I'm also not going to say it did like grouping and matchmaking any better than the player search system. It's equivalent to me. Like, just everything on the 3DS just was not engaging for Pokemon battles and made the experience a lot rougher, where it's like, you know what? I don't even want to like add, I don't want to do any Pokemon battles today, so I don't want to add anyone, and then there's kind of no point and everyone's cheating anyways. So like, it wasn't engaging enough just to be like, all right, let's go in. Nintendo created the greatest interface for multiplayer ever in Pokemon, and then never decided to do it again. 350... That's what I mean. It's like, no, there's absolutely no way. Like, I already give the Pokemon community 0 credit for just being miserable, but there's no way there's this much brain rot in Pokemon. I unironically miss this. Best on... Like, bro, it's all NPCs. It's all NPCs. Why would you hurt me like this? And again, we're going back to the original baiting of the post, which just sigh. But why would you hurt me? Best, best, best. Those were the days. Bring me back. What? Like, is it because of my experience as a creator where I just was like overloaded with adding people and then it just didn't work? But even before then, I remember when Pokemon X and Y came out. It was before I even was making Pokemon videos. We had all of our friends in a Denny's for the midnight release of Pokemon, and then we would regularly go back to that Denny's, and the PSS meant literally nothing. Actually, wait, no, after thinking a bit more about group play and conventions I've gone to, the passerby was actually pretty good if you weren't online. So like, yeah, online passerby didn't really matter at all, but then if you went offline, there's just people around. If it worked, because that was still kind of a struggle, and if you could find the people, then like, yeah, it was good, and then you could keep up that communication. It's like, oh, you're nearby, let me scroll, oh, that's you, Andrew? Okay, yeah, like, cool, now we can interact that way. But it's also hard to compare because Pokemon, and especially Pokemon VGC, is more dead than it's ever been on the Nintendo Switch compared to the 3DS era. So like, yeah, PSS local versus Switch local, it's like 2 different communities and 2 different interactions, so I don't really have that much of a comparison point. Also, no one hangs out anymore. There's less grouping instances to find out that, like, yeah, local group search is just fine. Maybe that's the one area PSS wins in. I can't think of any situation where the PSS was actually good, because I was playing casually with friends at a Denny's every weekend, and the PSS was not relevant at all. And then from a more competitive angle, or even like large influencer angle, but even then, like, you don't have to be a big YouTuber to get capped out by the PSS if you're just managing any kind of community, or you have a large friend group. If they ever do a remake of X and Y, they should do a complete overhaul of the system, also re-implement the messaging aspect of it. I liked messaging friends and acquaintances, but realistically, will they re-implement it? It's like, yeah, but the messaging didn't really matter too much either, because like we're in the digital age. So that's why I feel the group finder just works better as an augment to existing technology that's already ubiquitous. That we have the Nintendo app, but no one really uses it. So yeah, like why would Game Freak make it where like, oh, there's friend integration, like you can add people through the Nintendo app, so you technically don't have to leave your game. But it's all these like extra steps and stuff. Whereas you're already in a Discord group or call, and then it's just instant, and you do it through DMs anyways. And you need to be DMing them anyways to get the friend code. So it changes, and you also have to be in contact, be like, hey, are you online? Well, in that same amount of time, you just put down the group code as well, even if they're already added as friends. So like, this doesn't have any function in the modern era, right? And then people are talking about like, oh, the menu was so great. So flashbang warning, let's see the menu. Like, there was stuff on it, but we have the Ycom, and then we also have the online for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and we have all the necessary things you want. It's not like, oh, O-Powers. We don't have O-Powers anymore, rip PSS. But if O-Powers were in future Pokemon games, they would have some kind of integration as well. Against the black and white reusable TM thing all over again. GTS. Well, it's all hatch Pokemon anyway. Same thing with Wonder Trade. It also feels like a Pokemon Legends syndrome, where hyper-casuals that have literally no gaming experience think that the most bare minimum, actually not really good features are peak because they haven't experienced anything else. It's like, yeah, they put the functions of the game in a menu. It doesn't really matter how that is delivered, and it doesn't make the PSS, like, any better or anything. Like, oh, I go onto the battle spot, and I can do that for the Battle Stadium on the Nintendo Switch, and it's just fine anyways. No one really used the Holocaster because you're already following. Like, again, this is where social media integration or just being online makes to where these features don't really matter as much. We're like, oh, I could just follow Cerebi, and I get more news than the Holocaster, which infrequently updates anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And we also have wild area news, so if I need to get any updates, like, actually, yeah, we have news inside of the games now. You get the wild area news, you see the update, and then you can find out the mass outbreak that's happening. So it's not like there's anything missing now that would have been exclusive to the PSS. GameSync, maybe this is also another reason why I don't look fondly on the PSS, because, yeah, really cool that we had the global link, but it just didn't work most of the time. You either couldn't log in because there were login issues, you couldn't connect your trainer account because you couldn't log in, which means you were locked out of a lot of the features. And then GameSync, my hope for is that, oh, it catches all the hacking because your data doesn't line up with the Pokemon that have been injected into your game. That never happened anyways. So like, half of these things were just useless and didn't matter, and your trainer profile is just a part of the menu anyways. So like, yeah, it was a different menu that does less than what we have now, but somehow it was the best. I can't be the one that's off base. It actually has to be the Pokemon community the more I think about it. Because again, I will give it the rose-colored glasses of we finally had an online menu, but it wasn't great for the times, and it doesn't hold up to what we have now, and it was just an inconvenient mess that didn't really work in multiple ways, right? Like, you can like it, but it wasn't good. It wasn't the best. And the baffling thing to me, again, is like, why are people hating on the codes when that was incredible for the Nintendo Switch? Even with Pokemon Let's Go, you do Rattata, Eevee, Pikachu battles. We're just battling now. I did so many battles with Pokemon Let's Go because of that. I did so many streams. I had so much community engagement because it was just, hey, throw up the code and match. If you get in, let's have fun, fans. And I also did a lot of battles, even for Pokemon Sword and Shield with the free battle, because the code made it so nice. It was just better in every way. I dropped Sword and Shield and Sumo so hard because it refused to implement something that was so simple and worked so well. Revisionist lies is all I can say. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.